Hello, everybody, and welcome to the All Over podcast. Tonight, I have Debra Lamb, and we're going to be talking. I'm going to be talking to her about some of the movies she was in. She was in a lot of movies, so I'm just going to read off some of them, and we're going to be, just talking to see what she's been up to. She's been in No Such Thing as Zombies, A Bloody Story, Disciples, Point Break, The Fall of Max Payne, The Lynch, Lake Shadows, Glory Hole, Whatever Happened to Wink Wally, in Star's Friend, and Handyman, to just say a few. But she's been in so many movies, so if you want to, just look her up and check out IMDb. Hello, Deborah. How are you tonight?
Hi, Jim. I'm good. Thank you.
Do you hear me a lot better now?
I hear you just fine.
Awesome. I just wanted to ask you, I know you've been in several movies. Do you know how many movies you've been in so far?
Well, on IMDb, I have well over 70 credits. I'm sure I have close to 80, I think. But
Wow.
some of those, there are a few in there that are music videos, and there are some that are television or TV movies or other things. So and then there's some short films. The majority of my work has been feature films, but I'd actually have to kind of go through and count.
It's such a privilege and an honor to have you on my show tonight.
Thank you.
So how did you get started into to doing the movie industry?
Okay, so when I was a kid, let's see, I'm looking on IMDb now. Well, at the moment, I have 76 credits, and a few of those films are in pre-production and post-production, and so okay. So yes, when I was just a kid, I started taking ballet when I was 7. And that was in Portland, Oregon, and the ballet company I was with, we put on 2 major ballet productions, theatrical productions a year. So, I was there for 7 years. So that's quite a lot of productions. So I started that wasn't necessarily acting, but that was performing. So I started my performing career since I was, little. And then after that, in high school, I always took dance and drama. And then after I graduated from Santa Monica High School, I shortly thereafter got into a very good acting school at the time called Van Mar Academy. And I was there for a while, and then I left there and I studied with some other acting coaches. So I've been at it since the early mid 80s is when I pretty much started my actual acting career, and I did a lot of modeling. I modeled for greeting cards and video box covers, and just got into film work. I think having such a strong dance background really helped, and I had smaller roles in some films, and as my career grew, of course my roles grew in the films that I were in. Actually, I was in quite a few very big budget films with very small parts early on in my career, and then it kind of just grew from there.
Wow, that's something though. I mean, to have a lot of movies. That's what was one of your let's just say, what was one of your favorite movies you did that you really enjoyed? I mean, you probably have more than just one, but what was one of your favorite movies that you really liked? Or
well, let's see. There are several, I have to say. One of my favorite experiences working on a film was it was a film called Out Cold, and it was back in, the early 90s, I think. It was a film starring, there are several films with the title Out Cold. This one stars John Lithgow and Terry Garr, Randy Quaid, and I think a few other big names. So, in fact, I'll look it up while we're talking. That film, I really just had a very small role on that film. I was kind of in the background. I wasn't. I was a dancer. I was a dancer at this lodge in the mountains, and so, not to give away the story, but John Lithgow's character and Terry Garr's character are trying to hide a body, so they thought they should take it up to the mountains, and so then they stop in this lodge, and there's a few scenes at this lodge, so I'm in a couple of the scenes kind of dancing around in the background, but what made it so special was that I actually got to spend a lot of time, not like a lot of time, but I got to spend some good time with John Lithgow and Terry Garr and Randy Quaid, and just hanging out with them and having meals with them, and they were just so sweet. And the director on that film was just so cool and so nice. And I'm trying to look it up. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Out Cold was 1989. That was such a fun film. The director was Malcolm Mulbray. I don't think he went on to do a whole lot of other films, but he was a very cool. Oh no, wait! I take it back. He's done quite a handful of films, but they were also nice. And I mean, I had my own trailer. They treated me like a queen. They were trying to get me to come back, but stay an extra day. But I had a previous engagement. I had to go do a commercial somewhere, and they kept offering me more and more money to stay. And and it was just so awful because I really, really wanted to stay, but I felt like, oh no, I have this other commitment. I can't just not show up at this other thing. And so, and it's funny too, because in retrospect, the other thing that I went to, I had to drive, oh my God, I don't know, like 10 hours to this other location to go do the thing the next day. And it was like this really, I don't know how to describe it, very not, God, how do I say this without making it sound so terrible? Well, it was not a very good production, let's just say that.
Okay.
And it was this commercial that nobody ever saw, and it was, so I'm like, dang it, I should have stayed on the set of Out Cold, but these things happen.
Yeah.
And then another one of my favorite films that I worked on was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I love that movie. Wow.
And it pains me to say that I got cut out of the film. Yeah, but I had a really big scene with John Candy and Steve Martin, and yes, I had a scene with those two, and it was total improv. John Hughes, I was in this scene, and John Hughes needed, and this is another thing that my dance background got me, because I was in this scene as a dancer, and in this club that John Candy and Steve Martin walk into toward the end of the movie after their car catches on fire or something happens, and they go into this club so Steve Martin's character can use the phone. Well, this wasn't in the original script, but John Candy needed somebody to do improv with Steve Martin and John Candy. Or did I say John? That's what I meant.
Yeah, John.
So chose me out of this group of girls to do this really funny scene, and I was in an improv group at the time called the Wild Side Theater, and in North Hollywood, I believe it was, run by a brilliant filmmaker, Sam Longoria, And so it was just the perfect timing, and so I got to do the scene, and apparently it was just hilarious. People thought it was really funny, which is good. And so I go to a special screening at Paramount, and the man behind me was one of the editors, and he recognized me, and he said, "Oh my God, you're the girl from that scene. Oh my God, you're so funny. That was such a funny scene."
Right.
So I was really excited because I thought, oh, good, I didn't get cut out. But then after sitting through the whole movie, and the part came and went where that scene should have been, and then, so I got, the scene was taken out. The scene wasn't in the final edit. But when the editor saw it, the one sitting behind me, when he was working on it, the scene was in the film. So they took it out after, and so after the film was over, he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea the scene was cut out." And so anyway, but that was one of my favorite experiences. But I've and then of course with all the films I've done, I have plenty of films that that I did not get cut out of.
And maybe you would have, right?
Luckily.
You would probably. No, I'm joking with you. I'm joking with you.
What was that?
I said maybe you probably wouldn't want to be. Maybe you'd want some of them to be cut out. I'm just joking with you.
I would want some of them. I would want to be cut out of some of them, right? Well,
I'm joking.
There was one film where my scene didn't, and it ended up being cut out of the film, and I was actually really happy about it.
Yeah,
I don't remember which it was, but I know there was something. I'm like, oh, good, they just cut me out. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, what was okay? Let's see. Okay,
but let me tell you.
Oh yeah, tell me some stories. Yeah, I love this.
Okay, a couple titles of things that I really that have been such good experiences, and I really love the film. One of my favorite films I did way back when. I'd have to look and see actually when it was out because it was a long time ago. It's called. Let's see. It's called Kissing Time. Oh, here it is. It's a short film I worked on, 1993, and it's a black and white silent film, and that is one of the most interesting films that I worked on that I really loved working on, and so many of them were so good. Like even just more recently, something that we haven't even shot the actual film. It's called Paradise Road. The director and writers Todd Ernest Braley, who's become a very good friend, and what's really funny is he's the director of Misfit 2. And you on Facebook you put a picture of me from Misfit 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the same director. And what's really great is I was cast in Misfit 2 a few months back while I was still visiting in Vienna. I was in Vienna for over 4 months this year. And back and forth between Vienna and London, to be more accurate. But anyway, so I was in Europe, and I started talking to Todd, and I got hooked up with Todd through another friend of mine, Joe Quintanilla, and another friend of mine, Will Gary, Will is also going to be in Misfit 2.
Yeah.
As well as my really good friend, Lynn Lowry. She's also going to be in Misfit 2, and Eileen Dietz, so I'm excited about that. So I started talking to Todd, and while the Kickstarter, there was some, I don't know which one it was, but there was some campaign to raise money for the film. And while that was going on, he came up with this great film concept, and then cast me in it as a mother. And while Misfit 2 is horror, this one is actually a family film.
Oh yeah, could you tell me a little bit more about that? Because I know, don't get me wrong, I follow Todd. We're friends now because of we've done our interview, and I, highly support all his movies and stuff that he's made. And could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to tell you about that. So, like I said, I don't know when it was. It was, I don't know, August, September, I started talking to Todd. And so first he cast me in Misfits too. And then we were talking about a couple of being potentially cast in a couple of his other films that he's going to be doing sometime next year, because there's a few films he would like to shoot next year if possible. So meanwhile, he came up with this storyline idea. Well, the story he tells is his wife and him, if that's, I don't know, that sounds like bad grammar to me, but he and his wife, that sounds better.
It's okay.
His wife Angie and him were watching American Graffiti one night. And at the end in the movie, there's a reference made, I guess, what's his face?
Ron Howard?
No, Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford, okay.
So Harrison Ford and one of the other characters in the film, at the end of the film, they're talking to each other, and they say something about Paradise Road. So it popped in Todd's head. He had a flash of this film idea with the title Paradise Road, that there should be a film about Paradise Road. So he came up with this concept, and then he talked to me about playing this mother who had been addicted to drugs and was from a abusive relationship, and she had 2 sons, and needing to get away out of that situation, she left. She abandoned her family and abandoned her 2 sons to leave and go get cleaned up. So she goes and gets cleaned up. This isn't the main story, but this is part of the story. And well, I take it back. It's one of the main stories. The main story is it's about a young boy, a 12-year-old boy, who's bullied, and then he gets mentored by these 2 brothers. The one brother is played by Nick Hamm, who's a local actor in Colorado, and then the older brother is played by Scott Ingrati, who's a very good friend of mine from California, from Los Angeles. So those 2, they're both vets. The older brother, played by Scott Ingrati, is a Vietnam vet, and the younger brother, played by Nick Hamm, is an Iraqi vet. So they both have their own set of PTSD, and they both handle it in their own ways. So the other characters in the story, like the mother, played by myself, also is traumatized and has, PTSD herself. And there's an abusive father of the 2 boys, and he's an alcoholic. And so the main story is the younger boy gets pretty much the one mechanic, the younger brother, kind of saves him from these bullies, and then there's the young boy is brought into their garage, and he starts learning about cars. So the story is very much a redemption story, and also a mentorship story, and a story about PTSD to some extent, and just that kind of thing. But so it's such a beautiful story. So Todd cast me in that. And then because of the work that, he wanted to do a teaser trailer. So Scott Ingrati and I took a road trip and went to Colorado, and he had Todd had a bunch of his local actors in the Grand Junction area. So we had them, and then Scott and I were from LA, and then we shot some scenes. I think we had one day of primary shooting, and then we did a little bit more shooting too. In fact, I think he just did another day of shooting other scenes with the actors that are there for the trailer. So because the chemistry of everybody was so great, and it was like, really, the whole few days that we were there were very magical and very special, and everyone brought their A game, and some of the actors are kind of new to acting. They don't have, a whole list of films that they've done. Some of them are pretty new.
Right.
But those people, as well as the other ones with more experience, and a couple ladies had a lot of theatrical experience, but everyone were so good. Everyone's performance was great. We all lifted each other up. It's like a couple actors would do a scene, and it was so good that everybody it just made everybody just really rise and bring their best performances. And it was just a really special few days that we were there. So Todd's plan now is to actually shoot that one first. Okay. So we'll go back and shoot Misfit 2 later, but I think he really, really wants to, since the ball's going on Paradise Road, to really go forward with that and make that happen as soon as possible.
Oh, that's great. That really sounds good. It sounds like a really good story, especially with PTSD. That really sounds like that is going to be a really good movie. The way you're talking, and that's cool. That's really cool.
And we are looking for investors, if there's anyone out there.
Yeah.
To invest in our film.
Yeah. The thing is, I did help out a little bit with Misfits too, with Todd. So.
Oh, that's so sweet.
He sent me. I got a chance to watch Misfits 1, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. When I started to do my podcast and stuff like that, I really, I started with the independent filmmakers and stuff. Todd was one of them, and I really see the passion, the passion that he has in his movies that he makes, and he's such a worker that I just really enjoy now indie movies more than some of these other movies that are out, in the theater. I've really, I've really taken a liking to him and try to get people on that people don't know a lot about indie movies and all, and trying to get them, getting people to like them just as much as I do, with the way they are, as far as, people like Todd and other directors. They're really passionate, and even, don't get me wrong, even the actors and everybody that's involved in indie movies are so passionate about what they do in their craft that that's what I've been like. That's why I really love to interview people.
Yeah, there is so much talent out there, and and not to take away from the big blockbusters, because
right.
There's a lot of people seeing these blockbusters. That's why they're blockbusters. And I'm a sucker for superhero movies, so I'm not, I'm not putting those down.
No.
But I have seen so many brilliant films that are indie films and that don't have the advertisement like these big films, these major studio films get. And so obviously they're not reaching the masses like they really deserve to,
Right.
But I think because we have all these film festivals everywhere, that helps. I was while I was staying in London, or no, I'm sorry, I take it back. While I was staying in Vienna, in fact, I was staying with my friend Michael Haberfeldner, who you just had on your show.
Oh yeah, what a good guy! Oh man,
Michael
what a good guy!
Haberfeldner of Search My Trash, and Michael's a talented filmmaker as well. He's a producer and writer, and he's a very talented writer, and he's really funny.
He sent me
His
some.
material.
He sent me some trailers of No Such Thing as Zombies and stuff like that.
Did he?
They were really funny. I thought they were great. He's really good. So he was so fun to talk to. He's like, I want to come back on. I was like, I got to have you on before so I can actually have something again, because I look forward to talking to him somehow, since he's in Europe and we are in the U.S. But I hopefully we'll get things straightened out that I can talk to him again real
Oh,
soon.
Michael, I don't quite know how to describe Michael. He's unique. He's really unique. For one, he's the dearest, sweetest person, and he's the best friend a person can have. He is one of my very, very best friends. I love Michael to death, and so Michael and I have been friends for years. In fact, we originally were connected because he contacted me to do an interview. This is quite a while ago. He contacted me to do an interview for his Search My Trash website. So, and then over the next couple of years, I did a handful of interviews with him for different projects, and then we just became really good friends. And then we ended up writing a couple scripts together, and we're in this writing group together called WPAD, which stands for Writers, Poets, and Deviants. And Michael brought me into the group. So over the past handful of years, I've written some stories that have gone into their publications. And if you are interested, you can go on Amazon and look up Debra Lamb or look up WPAD, and you'll see these books. But if you type in my name and look at my things, those books will come up too, that my stories are published in. And Michael's been with that group a lot longer than I have. So he's in several of their books. I'm in the last 4 of their books that have been published. But anyway, I digress. But
okay.
So Michael, I knew he was doing his zombie movie, There's No Such Thing as Zombies. First, they did it as a short film that Lynn Lowry starred in a few years back, and that was called Talk of the Dead. But that was made pretty much to try to raise money to do the full-length version of that film, which is There's No Such Thing as Zombies. And Michael and I, of course, had been wanting to work together as far as on a film for ages. And finally, when did we shoot that? Let's see. I've been over there. So I've been over in London several times to shoot films. Let's see. I shot There's No Such Thing as Zombies. Not last year, but the year before.
Yeah, 2017. I think I saw it was. I didn't write that down. I should have. There were just so many.
No, I think
there
you're
were
right.
so many.
Then,
there was so many that you done that I'm just writing these down. I'm like, I'm like, I just gotta stop.
I came back to London again. I think it was last year. No. I think it was this year. I think it was earlier this year. And I was in a film that Michael wrote and produced called Espresso to Die For, and that was hilarious.
Yeah, we talked about
Lynn
that.
Lowry, Lynn Lowry stars in it along with me and some other really good people. So, but we're planning now. There's No Such Thing as Zombies and Espresso to Die For are supposed to be released pretty soon. The early 2019, maybe mid 2019. So
all right,
be looking for those.
Sure.
And we're already talking about doing the sequel to There's No Such Thing as Zombies, which would be There's still no such thing as zombies.
That sounds good. That sounds good. It's so, and he said, it's a comedy, which is really nice. I like that. I was asking him when we talked, is it something like Shaun of the Dead? Because that's like the only reference I can use, as far as funny zombies. And when he goes, sort of like that, Sort
of, kind of, even a little sillier, I would say.
Cool.
Even sillier. But I love Shaun of the Dead. Right. I love that movie so much. It's so good. Yeah.
I was even trying to get, since I live over in Pennsylvania, I was like, Michael, is there any way you come over here to the U.S. Do a movie somewhere in Pennsylvania? Be awesome, you know,
Well,
because I want to meet Michael so bad.
oh, he's a sweetheart. I had so much fun with him. There's a few events that we both went together to go to in London.
Hmm.
And we had a ball, and there was a few things that we did in Vienna while I was staying with him in Vienna. One of them was the Slash Film Festival, where we saw a lot of really, really great films, including Mandy. We saw Mandy, and Nicolas Cage was there. It was the
Oh,
premiere. It was the, how do you say this? The Austrian premiere of Mandy in Vienna, and Nicolas Cage showed up to introduce the film and talk a little bit about his career and his love for horror films. It's so funny. He's up there. He's like,
that's
I love it.
nice,
He was
nice.
so enthusiastic about the horror films, because he was talking about his career a little bit, but he was saying that the horror films that he's done are his favorites, and he loves to do horror. So that was really cool. Of course, you're at a film festival called the Slash Film Festival, and
Right.
it was mainly like horror.
Do you
It
do you
was horror
remember
genre
do you remember the
film.
movie that Nick Cage was in? It was a zombie movie. I forget the name of it. Once Bitten, I
Really?
think. Yeah, I actually watched it a while back. Because, like I
Was
said,
it cool?
yeah, Nick Cage was in a movie. I think it was called Once Bitten. I can't be sure on the name of it, but I think it was something like that. And it was funny that he was in it. It
Talking
was a
about
funny.
Vampire Kiss, where he thinks he's a vampire.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah, maybe that's it. I'm not sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kiss of the Vampire. That's it. You're right.
yeah.
Yeah, you're good. You're better than me at this remembering things.
Oh yeah. That
Was
was
a
a
good
good
one.
one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so good. He's so good at the straight drama roles, and he's
Yeah.
of course played some family films, and I think he's terrific in everything he does.
Hmm.
Yeah, the film he was in was called Vampire's Kiss,
Okay.
and that was 1988. But
Yeah.
man, have you seen Mandy?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you need to see
Okay.
that.
Okay. I sure will. I'll have to put that down. I have a. Yeah, it's tough for me sometimes. I try to catch as many movies as I possibly can, even on Netflix. I'm more of a Netflix guy, and I'm trying to get on looking at some movies on Prime as well. But yeah, I love movies as much as I can watch, and the series are so good now, and I really enjoy that they're starting to put different types of movies on Netflix and different things. It's really interesting, and it's getting better, I say.
There's really I would go more often if I had the time, but I don't get to the theater that often.
Hmm.
Once in a while I'll go to a screening, and but so Netflix, and of course there's other platforms which are good. I do see some films from Amazon Prime sometimes,
Hmm.
but Netflix is a good place to see films, because a lot of times I'm traveling, or I'm
Oh, I
on the
know you're so
road, and
busy. And like I said,
yeah,
thank you so much
I
for just coming
travel a
on.
lot. Huh?
I said, and thank you. I know you're so busy, and that's why I'm so happy that I have you on, because you do a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm always doing something, busy girl. But Netflix is good for me because I can watch it on my phone.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but there's so many great streaming platforms now. I mean, I can't like name them off right now, but just the way people view things, and then of course that has changed the way people produce films and
Hmm.
television shows. The big thing now is the short format series, where it's not the regular hour series. You have these series, and
Hmm.
each show is like about 15-20 minutes.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, for all the commuters watching everything on their phone. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole different world than we're used to in a way, you know. And who would have thought that? You know, I never even thought that I would be doing this. I kind of enjoyed, you know, when we started out, I just had a Walking Dead show we did live in my Walking Dead group, and now it's just so interesting and so awesome to be able to talk to people that are actors and producers and movie makers that you know it's opened up a lot of things, you know, with the social media and all, you know what I mean, and everything. It's so much
Oh
different
yeah,
today.
yeah, and everybody's talking to each other, and there's all these chat rooms, and yeah, it's just I think, and what we were talking about before about these indie films not having, it's not as easy to find an audience because
Hmm.
it's just they're not being advertised. The marketing isn't is uh, I don't know how to say it. It's not out there to the masses. But on the other hand, it because of social media and just the way that people can promote their own films through different areas, it's still better than it used to be for
Hmm.
independent filmmakers because pretty much, I mean, gosh, I'm not really saying it in a very factual way, but it just seems that there are so many independent filmmakers now and so many indie films that people want to see, and they are finding an audience.
Good.
Um, I I feel for my fellow filmmakers out there who are doing these movies and then trying to find a platform or trying to find a way to market them and to make money. It's very difficult to actually make a lot of money.
Hmm.
You either have to spend no money on your film and make it for as little as possible with as highest production value as you can, so that when you do get a distribution deal, you can make some money back.
Hmm.
Or these huge blockbusters, but you know, if they tank, then they've lost, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
It's really hard. You know, there there is definitely a science to it, but even when you put all the science into
Hmm.
place with how to have a successful film, it really just depends on the people need to see it. You know, people
Hmm.
need to go out and see it, and are those people going out and watching what you've got, what you just made?
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't
Exactly.
know. I'm not saying it as eloquently as I'd like to say it, but you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes, I do. Let's see. Let me ask you something. How? What do you when you are acting? I know it might throw you off, but do you like more so? How is it, improvisation, or do you like method acting? What is like one of your how you get into your character?
Hmm. Well, I'm good at doing things in whatever way the filmmaker wants it done.
Hmm.
I've worked on films where they really want you to have the lines exactly as written, you know,
Hmm.
very strict, just strictly stick to the lines. And where, of course, you need to, you know, make sure you're very prepared to do that. And then a lot of filmmakers are kind of a little looser. It's like, you know, stick to it, but if you change a little word here and there, it's not a big deal. And
Hmm.
then there are people who actually encourage improv, and it's like, well, here's the script, and as long as you stick to to what we're trying to say in the scene, if you
Hmm.
want to make stuff up, go ahead. You
Hmm.
know, so I like I said, I do come from. I think I said that I come from a improv background, improv comedy. So it's really easy for me to improvise if needed. In fact, when I worked on my friend James Balsamo's film, The Lich, that was partly scripted, but a lot of it was improv, which was really fun. It was really fun to do that. And then in the teaser trailer that I went to Colorado to do with Scott Ernest Braley, it was partly scripted, but a lot of it was improv, and like some of the scenes were pretty much all improv, and it worked out fabulous, and it was really good. So, and as far as method acting, I wouldn't call myself a method actor, you know, in quotations, method actor, but I do come from that world of method acting, and you know, I do my preparation for my characters, and you know, I have the things that I do to bring the character alive and make that character as authentic as possible, and make it, you know, a personal performance. So
if you had your chance, if it was you, would you rather do more improvisation or the method way? I mean, or it doesn't matter.
When you say the method, I think what you're meaning, if I'm correct here, is you're meaning where you're strict to the script. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what you mean. Yeah. Because method style
is a lot.
Matter whether that's something else. That's a style of performing. That's a style of acting. But you just mean improv as opposed to sticking with
sticking with it. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. You know, I kind of like a little bit of both. It's nice. It's good to have somebody who's written great dialogue, but it's also good if you know, I can do it either way, like I said, because some people really want you to stick to the lines, but I do enjoy having a little freedom to, like, well, if I'm in the moment of the character, if I say something a little different, if it's not a big deal, but sometimes it's really imperative that you say the lines exactly how they're written. But then I've done things where it was like total improv too, and that can be a lot of fun. So I think you know, I'm all for like a little bit of both, you know. I really like it where you have the dialogue that's written, that's very well written dialogue, but especially with sometimes you'll get a script where the characters and the stories are very well written, but maybe the dialogue's not geared toward you, like you wouldn't naturally, like there's something written that when you say it, it just sounds awkward. So if you can say it differently, or like I said, if you're in the moment and just something comes over you where you say something, I enjoy having that freedom to do that.
That's good. I'm just curious. I always like to ask people that because, like, lots of I've been in like some plays, and I've kind of written a few back in the day, and I basically just sometimes I didn't even go by my script. You know what I mean? I didn't even go by it. So I always like to ask people that. But I really love improv because I think it's really cool. I think that it's ingenious how you can try to get your mindset that, you know, hey, this might even sound better. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. It's nice to have the freedom to be able to play around with it. You know, I have had scenes where it's really important for you to say something a certain way because the next person's line is dependent on, if you change the lines, the next person's lines isn't as funny or isn't as important or isn't as like intense. Like if you change it, it kind of screws up the next person's lines. So it just depends on what it is, you know.
And sometimes, I think sometimes though, it all depends on who you're working with. Maybe you might have more chemistry with that person, so they'll be able to pick that up real quick, you know.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
that's really key. I mean, I've I've been able to do that with people just for fun when we just, did it, because we did it in church and stuff.
What? Sorry, I missed that.
Oh, because we did a lot of plays and stuff at church, so it was fun. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't know who it was. It was I don't know who it was. It was either Robert De Niro or Al Pacino or somebody. It was somebody. Somebody out there will know and will be like, "You idiot! It wasn't that person. It was that person." Okay, so one of these, big iconic actors said something about, or it could have been Jack Nicholson. I don't know.
That's okay.
It's like you do a scene for the director, but then just for safety, do it the way it was written, but then have the freedom to do it, like just get crazy and just go way out on a limb and just do something completely unexpected. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with, hang on. I was getting a scam call right now. Okay, so he's trying to scam me, or scam whatever. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. So a lot of times when you're working on really like low budget independent films that are on a really super tight schedule, you do not screw around. You can't afford to play around with something because it's like boom, boom, boom. You have to just keep moving along. Okay. And, sometimes they'll allow for like, hey, can I try it like this? But sometimes you get in a situation, it's like, well, we just don't have time for that. Just do it like it is, and so we can hurry up and move along. And, so you want to respect people's time when it comes to that. But it's so much nicer when you have a little breathing room and you do have some time to like play around with it a little bit. It's just that's just a lot more fun.
I tell you what, I watched. You watched Bruce Willis movies and stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, what I like, I was telling even my kids, we watched Die Hard 2 maybe a week or so ago, and.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I watched it on IFC. Always on, slightly off.
I saw some article that says it's official. Die Hard is a Christmas movie, but we've known that for long.
Yeah, but what I was talking about, we were talking about dialogue, and what I really enjoyed about him was. Like, I think towards the beginning of his movies, but he's also done this on Moonlighting as well, and it just cracked me up, is where he's talking, the other actor is talking, and they still keep it going. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is so, I don't know what it is, it just blows me away. It's like, that is so, it's so creative, it's so awesome, because people do that. Me and you are talking and somebody else is butting in, but still we're talking. I'm talking about one thing, you're talking about another thing, and we still keep it going. And I really, I don't know why, it just, because that's really what I liked. I liked about how he did that stuff, and like I said, when he did that in Moonlighting, he just cracked me up. He just, it's just so creative. I don't get a chance to see that much, and when I do, it just blows me away. I don't know. I guess it's just how I am, how I like people being creative in their art like that, and it's so cool,
Well, I like that too. I like those films. I like those films where, like, everybody's kind of talking at once and talking over each other, because. No, I mean, usually the rule is to not talk at the same time somebody else is talking, because it's harder for the editor, right, to edit. But if you I love those scenes where everybody's talking to each other, and like not everybody's talking to the same people. Let's say you have a scene with a big family, and you got these two talking about one thing, you got those other two talking about something else, and everybody's talking at the same time. I mean, that's just cool. I just like that.
Yeah, that that sort of stuff. I had to bring. I don't know why I bring it up, but we were just since we were talking about dialogue, I just had to throw that
Right.
in there. But it was like I said, I enjoyed that. Have you ever done that? Oh, have you ever actually was talking while somebody else was talking, but you were still in what I'm saying? Have you
I'm
ever done
trying
that?
to remember. I'm trying to remember if I have. Uh,
Sorry to
I'm
catch you
trying to.
off on that one.
No, no, it's good. It's a good thing to think about because like I said, the rule is don't step on other people's lines. But let me think. Did I have anything like that? Uh, I'm sure I have. Oh,
It's okay.
um,
I'm sorry. I guess I should have did, but that I was just
I'm
curious.
also
Really.
I'm like looking through my own credits to see if I I'm like, I don't remember. Do not remember.
That's okay.
Um,
That's okay. Maybe, maybe.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I think of
I
something.
tell you what, Deborah. Maybe I'll let you, maybe when we talk again, if we could, sometime maybe next year would be great. Maybe you can tell
Oh
me
yeah,
then. How's that?
that's a good idea. And I have so many things coming up, which I'll just mention a couple of them.
Sure. Yeah. Plug away,
Like
please.
we already talked a little bit about Misfit 2, and we talked about Paradise Road, which is the big thing coming up for me. I do have some other projects coming up that I can't talk about yet, but
Okay.
there's no such thing as zombies that Michael
Yes.
Haber wrote and produced, directed by Eddie Beniki and Espresso to Die For with the same group of people.
Right.
Those two should be released sometime in 2019.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be doing Teacher Shortage with Troy. I believe you say it, Escamilla. Let's see. Escamilla, yeah. Troy Escamilla
I'm
with
I'm I'm glad you have I'm glad you're like me in a way. It's tough to pronounce people's names. I'm so glad you have
so
a nice last
Escamilla.
name.
I don't know. Um, Stevens and Kaylee Williams and
Uh-huh.
Julianne Prescott and Mel Heflin and some other good people. And then, so I'll be doing that at the end of March. And
Okay.
then I'll be doing, let's see, Badass Angels and Demons. I'm actually
Ooh.
leaving in a few weeks. I think in about 3 weeks to go to Bali to shoot with the director Albert Puyen,
Uh-huh.
and I believe you say it Puyen, and I'm really excited about that. And his wife is going. Cynthia Kernan is also the his co-writer
Hmm.
and his producer. And there's another producer named Donna who's there. I mean, they're just such a great team,
Hmm.
and it stars just so many. The cast is incredible. These people, there's so many like really athletic people. There's all these fight scenes
Cool.
um and the
Sounds
because it's
interesting.
the demons are all fighting each other all the time, and it's really cool.
Hmm.
The other producer I wanted to mention is Donna Fisher, and she's fantastic. And but the really cool thing about this is he's shooting it for virtual reality for VR.
That
Yes, I mean
that would be, yeah. That's different. That would
it,
be.
it's being, I mean, he's shooting it for regular, just regular movies,
Hmm.
or the regular film, what standard film version, but
Hmm.
he's also shooting it for VR. And that I've heard from a lot of people is like really the new age of shooting films is in VR. Now,
Hmm.
me personally, I don't know. That might be like a little too much going on if you have the whole VR experience. But
Hmm.
because I can only handle so much visual input,
Right.
all this information going into my little pea brain,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That sounds that really that yeah. You're right. Oh, that's probably going to be the next step. In
yeah.
movies.
Well,
Where you actually sit and you're actually in the movie, so to speak. I guess.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
it kind of feels that way. I mean, have you ever put on those VR goggles?
I'm afraid to tell you the truth. To be honest, I'm kind of old school, but yeah, I can't. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah.
I'm really excited to work with Albert because he's amazing. He's directed some really I was going to use the word iconic. Well, you can use the word iconic, but some classic, some really classic films. Like, let's see, he did Cyborg, and that was with
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Van Damme.
Yeah, that's one of my. Yeah. I like action. I love them. I love them all. I love action. Drama, everything.
And this one, which is called Badass Angels and Demons, and if anybody wants to look it up on Facebook, I think they have a Facebook page just called Badass Angels. I think the Facebook page is, but they have a website, and you can always look it up on IMDb. But they've been filming, and they've been putting out all of these really fantastic screenshots on Facebook and IMDb, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to go get a personal trainer because these people are just out in the desert just kicking ass like all over kicking ass down the desert flats. I don't know. The pictures are fantastic. You have pictures of people like flying through the air. Is like, oh damn, I need to get into better shape here. And it's the holiday season.
Are you gonna? Can I ask you a question? What character are you going to be? An angel or a demon?
I am a demon named Rakshisha. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but I think as far as I could tell, it's I can't even say my name.
It's okay. That's awesome. I love it.
But I'm like, thanks a lot, you guys. You stick me in this thing where I'm supposed to be all a hard body, and it's the holidays, and all these people. I've been going to all these meetings with people, and everybody's eating, drinking, and friends from out of town, and all these parties, and I'm like, shit, I'm gonna be like the roly-poly demon.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
I'm not gonna be the badass demon like I'm supposed to be. Be like, shit, I gotta join Weight Watchers.
You're gonna pull it off no matter what. I guarantee it, Deborah. I guarantee it, and I can't wait. I definitely gotta check that one out. And like I said, we'll keep in touch, and I will. I'll try to look it up myself, and put the page on my group, my page, and even on my wall. I mean, please let me know what all the stuff you're doing, because I will plug it like crazy. I love to help students out like that.
Yeah, and then if you're whoever's out there listening to this, if you want to look me up on Instagram and Twitter, I'm at the Debra Lamb on both Twitter and Instagram. I have an acting website, which is thedebralamb.com. I have another website for my psychic stuff, because I do psychic readings, which is, yeah, I do. We can talk about that next time. It's DebraLambPsychic.com. And then, of course, I'm on Facebook. I actually do have a fan page, which is called Debra Lamb, but I really have neglected it. I have to start doing stuff on that page. But the thing is, I have all these videos on YouTube, and I would love it if people out there listening could go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's just under Debra Lamb.
I will do that tonight. I gotta go to work. I work night shift, so I will definitely I will definitely do that.
I love that movie, Night Shift.
What's that?
The movie Night Shift. That's a great movie.
Henry Winkler, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And
Michael I'm having a brain fart. Michael, what's his last name?
Keaton. Yeah, Michael Keaton was in that. He's from Pittsburgh. You know that? He's from my area. Yeah.
He's from Pittsburgh. I love that's early Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton.
Yeah, we're showing our age, Deborah. You know that, don't you?
Well, I know. I shouldn't be giving it away. I should not be giving it away.
I'm not even going to say how old you are. I kind of know how old you are, but I'm not going to say. You're only, the You know the funny part about it, Deborah, you're only about maybe, I think, 3 years older than me, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we're up there. I'm not really up there. I don't consider myself up there as far as that. I like to look at myself as like I'm really 45, you know. So you're only as young as how you feel. And I tell you what, you're doing so many video. I mean, you're you know, that's awesome how you're doing all these movies and stuff. I mean, I think it's great.
Thank you.
You know, and
I love films. I love all films. I love the big blockbuster films and the little indie films, and I love you know, being in all the films I'm in, and
right.
you know, I just love doing everything. I love you know, I love the horror, but I really love this family film I'm going to be in, Paradise Road. I can't wait. And
good.
that we were talking about, and comedies. I mean, I really love doing everything. So I like variety, you know.
Well, that's what I think keeps it fresh in a way, right? I mean, at least it keeps your creative juices going, I guess, if you want to call it that or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's good. You know, you've probably played. How many different types of characters have you played? I mean, I know we're going on, but how many different types of characters have you played?
Well, you know, I've played the mother a few times in this thing called Cycles of Loon. I was kind of a uppity, conservative mother who was, you know, worked in the fashion industry. On Paradise Road, I'm the recovering drug addict mother. In a film that I worked with, a director, Dustin Ferguson. I was in an anthology film, which I was a mother for a little girl who I did a satanic ritual and married Satan so that I could bring back my little girl from the dead, which had not very good outcome. And then, first back in the day, I played a lot of sexy type sirens and vixens and sexy vampires, and there's no such thing as zombies. I'm like the straight man. I compare it to the you know, Men in Black. What's his face? Tommy something.
Tommy Lee Jones?
Tommy, yes. I'm like the Tommy Lee Jones character in Men in Black. That's my character. Well, in There's No Such Thing as Zombies. I'm like the straight man.
Someone's got to be a straight person.
Yes, I'm the man who does not believe in zombies. I just totally don't believe in zombies at all. And let's see, in this thing called, there was a web series. No, it was a short film. It was called Insta Friends, one of the films I did up north in the Bay Area, and I played a principal of a school. And in the upcoming teacher shortage, I'm playing a school administrative leader. And in Gold Mountain, which is an award-winning web series, which I'll have to get into on our next call, I played Police Chief Jane Royce. So, and then detectives, you know, lots of detectives, police chiefs, very, you know, earlier on, a lot of sexy girls who, you know, like to bite. And, you know, I've, you know, done my share of biting people, and, you know.
Maybe you're better off playing a mother then, right, that don't bite. Oh, yeah.
You know, strips till too. I played a stripper. You know, I mean, I was one of the strippers. So lots of things. Oh, I was like in Death Row Game Show. I was like the Vanna White. You know, if people know who Vanna White is. You know, a game show hostess. You know, and yeah. So you know, it's just all over the map. There's a thing that I did, a comedy called Whatever Happened to Wink Woolery. Yeah. And that's not out yet, but that has got to be the funniest thing I've ever done or ever worked on. That is hilarious. It's I hope my friend, the director Dave O'Shea, I hope he gets it out there, because he's supposed to be putting it into film festivals. So he doesn't, you know, I can't show it to people because he's going to put it in film festivals. But it's like so funny. That is the funniest thing. I mean, it's really out there. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I did.
I hope people get to see it someday.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. Well, anyway, thank you so much, Deborah, for being on my show tonight. And I really appreciate it. And best of luck to you